Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the City Council of the City of Lathrup Village for today, Monday, December 17th. Madam Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Roll call, Mayor Garrett,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor,
Present.
Councilmember Brock, Councilmember Ferguson, and Councilmember Stallings. Here. Madam Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I invite everyone to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Before we do that, I'm sorry, also we have to move a special, or add special assessment and set a public hearing. I would like for that to be H, and then everything else move down.
That's what she's, okay.
Now I need the motion.
So moved. Second.
Been moved in second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda has been approved. And now we will need to go into closed session. I'll have the city attorney bring it or explain it. Thank you.
All right, so in accordance with MCL 15.268, Section 8E of the Open Meetings Act, requesting council go into closed session to consult with the city attorney and litigation counsel regarding trial or settlement strategies in connections with specific pending litigation.
Okay, need a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. We'll go into closed door session.
Madam Mayor, we need a roll call
I'm
vote.
sorry, a roll call vote.
Roll call. Councilmember Brock. Councilmember Ferguson.
Yes.
Mayor Garrett.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor.
Yes.
And Councilmember Stallings. Yes. You have a quorum.
Thank you. So we'll go into closed door session.
Looks like we gotta get up.
Okay, now we need to have a approval to open the meeting back up.
Make a motion that we open the meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. I guess we don't need to do approval. Okay, so meeting back in order. Okay, so now I need to get an approval for the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes from November 19th, 2018 council meeting, and the approval of minutes December 3rd, 2018 study session, and the approval of the City of Lathrup Village resolution scheduling a public hearing.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have two quick items. On page 9, third sentence in section C at the bottom, I think they meant to say front yard instead of front year.
Where is that? It's on-
Yeah. So page 9, front yard, section C, third sentence down, third word. I think that should be yard. And then on page 10, it says political slash expressive signs. That was expressive signs that we were referring to. And the political signs have a range from the day that the candidate has turned in their petition and it's approved up through 10 days after the election. So those were not the same limit.
What section is that? Under me?
Number 4,
Public
under
comment.
public comment.
Yep. Okay.
And that's all I have.
Yep, I see it. Thanks.
Okay, is there anyone else?
I just have a question on the resolution of the public hearing. What we're doing when we accept this is just to agree that we're going to have, is this strictly to agree that we're going to have this public hearing? It's going to be today that we'll have the hearing. Is that right?
No.
This is scheduling a public hearing for January 28th to
Okay.
discuss the potential vacation of that proposed alley.
Okay. Thank you. I needed the date.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor to accept the consent agenda, say aye.
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 All opposed? The consent agenda has been accepted. Now we have the consideration of disbursement reports. First one is going to be from November 1st, 2018 to November 15th, 2018, excuse me. November 15, 2018 for $62,011.45. Next one is going to be disbursements from November 16, 2018 through November 30th, 2018 for $354,444.20. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the disbursement reports. The first one being November 1st through November 15th for $62,011.45. The second one being from November 16th to November 30th for $354,444.20.
Second.
Been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor to accept or approve the disbursement report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The disbursement reports are approved. Next, we'll have consideration of accepting the departmental reports.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just one quick question here on page 31. Is it possible in the future when we get this report that we can have it sorted by a dollar amount instead of department number? It'd be a lot easier to read because typically as we go through these, I'm probably looking for the bigger dollar items.
You're saying,
I agree with that.
you're saying this.
It may be difficult.
Yeah, so this portion here, within each category, it'd be nice to have it so that the high dollar amounts were at the top and the lower dollar amounts were at the bottom.
That would be a discussion for our treasurer, wouldn't it?
I can ask, we can work on it. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. It's not a huge thing, but it would make the report a lot easier to read
When I'm seeing that it's in numerical order for the actual,
by department.
Count, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's this.
Yeah, it's in numerical order.
We would have to import it into a spreadsheet and then sort it.
Anything? Any further discussion?
I had a question on one of the monthly inspections list. I didn't know what locked out meant. I didn't know if that was an issue at one of the properties. I don't know if there's anybody here that can answer that question tonight. On page 59, I didn't know if there was an issue at that home. Was it a lockout specifically, a put out, or don't know?
I would have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. And then the last question, and I can't find it, I apologize, but when we impound vehicles, do we get some of that money back from, I know there's a charge when we take it to the vehicles to be impounded. Do we get any of that money back from
Chief McKee is
the owner?
here. Ask him to come forward to address your question.
So the police department or the city actually collects $20 as a processing fee for every vehicle that's released through impound. But we have a contract with a third-party company, so their fees are their fees, and they collect them on their behalf. The city does not make any money off that.
I just noticed there were so many.
Thank you. Is there any
That's all.
further discussion? Hearing none, I would accept a motion for accepting the department reports.
So moved?
Second.
It's been moved. We already did that.
Yep.
We already did that. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The department reports have been accepted. And now we'll go to public comment for anything that is not, any items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to speak, you want to come over to the microphone.
Hello. My name is Don McGee, and I've lived in Lathrup Village for 40 years. I moved here when I was 20, or maybe a little later than that. In any event, I've lived in Lathrup a long time. I love this city. I love the people. I love how we are as a community. And I think one of the main reasons we're like that is because of our mayor, Frank Brock. So I want to thank you for your service, your unselfish, giving service for me and for all the residents. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak? Is there anyone else? Okay. We don't have any public hearings, so we will go right into our action requests. First one is the approval of the attorney's recommendation for a from the closed session.
Make a motion to approve the attorney's recommendation from our closed session earlier this evening.
Second.
It's been moved in second. There is,
And authorize
we add that we're-
authorize the city manager to sign.
Correct, directing the city administrator to sign on behalf of the city any required settlement documents.
Thank you.
so all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion, or the action request passes. Next, we'll have the consideration and approval of the 2019 council meeting dates.
Mayor and council, you have before you the recommended dates for 2019. I think they were shared with you in advance for the study sessions as well as the council meetings, noting the holidays that might impact your regular first and third Monday meetings.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2019 council dates.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The dates have been accepted. Next, we will have the consideration of approval of the Board of Review. Yeah, the Board of Review for the hardship resolution.
Mayor and council, this is the policy relative to the granting of the poverty exemptions that come before the Board of Review. And as indicated, this would put in place following the 2019 HUD guidelines when they're issued, usually around April, and looking at the very low income designation, which is green in your memo.
Thank you. Would like to make the motion?
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the Board of Review hardship resolution, say aye.
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 All opposed? Hearing none, it has been approved. Next, we'll have, which would be action item D, consideration and approval of Board of Review 2019 meeting dates.
Mayor and council, related to the Board of Review, this resolution approves the actual sessions of the Board of Review, with the first one being on March 7th, 2019, the second session on March 14th. The winter and summer sessions would be on July 16 and December 10th.
Okay, we have to for a second, because we're trying to find it in the packet.
It's on page 70.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Review 2019 meeting dates.
Second?
it's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the approval of the Board of Review's 2019 meeting date, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The consideration has been approved. Next, we will have the consideration of the approval of zoning ordinance amendment, accessory structures.
All right, this comes to you. This was recommended for approval from the Planning Commission at their last regular meeting. This is part of their ongoing process, what they've deemed a health checkup of the zoning ordinance. They're going through, with assistance from the city planner's firm, in reviewing section by section and looking at areas that might need to be updated based on either current changes in the law, or in this particular case, based on feedback from zoning board of appeal requests. So this specific ordinance addresses accessory structures. Specifically, it adds provision into the zoning ordinance allowing for accessory structures in non-residential districts where there was previously no standard set forth. We have had some accessory structures, so this lays out a framework for addressing those requests. It also makes some modifications to the accessory structures in residential areas, specifically the allowable height. We have had a couple of variance requests for sheds specifically that exceeded the allowable height under our current ordinance. So, and then lastly in this, it includes dealing with setbacks on corner parcels, so you have a clear line of sight, clear corner vision, fence height, and landscaping in those corners.
Thank you. Have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the accessory structure ordinance 5.1.
Second?
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll have the consideration of the zoning ordinance amendment for definitions.
Same thing as the previous ordinance amendment. This is derived from the health check process. This is just updating the definition section of the zoning ordinance to, again, consolidate some redundancy and clarify some areas that were a little unclear.
I'll make a motion to pass the definitions, section 2.1 of the zoning ordinance amendment.
Second?
Been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll have the motion to approve. This says the first reading of ordinance.
Second reading.
Second.
Okay, what else? On the document, it says first, though. And on the agenda, it says second.
It's the second.
Okay. So, motion to approve the second reading of an ordinance to amend Appendix A franchises, amending Article 1, Consumer Power Company in its entirety.
That's correct. This is, as you indicated, this is the second reading. This was before us last month. They're currently required to have a franchise agreement in place, Consumers Energy, in order to do business within the city of Lathrup Village. Their existing agreement expires in April of 2019. This is proposing a 30-year extension, the same terms and conditions as the existing franchise agreement that is in place. As I indicated, this is the second reading. There are no changes from the first reading last month.
Thank you.
So,
Need a motion?
I make a motion to approve the second reading of an ordinance to amend Appendix A, franchises, amending Article 1, Consumer Power Company in its entirety.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, it's going to be the special assessment. The motion to adopt a special assessment resolution number 1 and set public hearing date for January 22nd, 2018.
Mayor and council, this is the annual special assessment and that you have each year relative to outstanding water bills. And there is one addition to the spreadsheet that you were provided, and that's for the property located at 26760 Lathrup. And there's outstanding bills for the mowing of that property for approximately $2,800 that should be added to your listing. And the resolution is to
Swear.
schedule a public hearing.
Thank you. Need a motion?
I make a motion to adopt this resolution. This is for the, set the public hearing date for special assessments for January 22nd, 2018 at 7 p.m.
Should be 2019.
I'm sorry?
29,
2019.
Oh,
yes.
Second.
January 22nd, 2019 at 7 p.m. Thank you, council.
Hold on, let's make sure the date's correct.
It's actually going to be January 28th.
January 28th. Okay, to set the public hearing date for special assessments for January 28th, 2019 at 7 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye. I'm sorry, was there any discussion?
Did you say $2,800 for putting the lawn?
There was a number of cuts.
A number. Right, no, I get that.
Yes.
Oh, that was the fact that Miranda talked about earlier.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So next, we have the acceptance of resignation of Councilmember Frank Brock, effective December 31st, 2018. City Administrator, did you want to say more to it?
In case you had not heard, Frank Brock has submitted his resignation effective December 31st of this year, so this would be the acceptance of that resignation.
No one seconded it.
No one.
You didn't do a motion?
I'm
No,
saying no one seconded it.
oh. Oh, okay, you did do the motion?
Well, aye.
Oh,
He's going to do the motion.
you have to get a second.
That's why I said no.
I get it now, your joke was bad. Just in case.
I'm taking over for Frank.
Stop.
I'll second it.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion?
Sure you want to do this?
Sure, you want to do this. We thank you again
I thank you for your service.
for all you've done.
This is your time to grill him. He's not leaving yet.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All in favor of acceptance of the resignation of Councilmember Frank Brock Jr. effective December 31st, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I oppose.
The motion carries. I've always been to his left, or he's been to my left, and so now, like,
Choose your partners.
I know, don't rearrange the seats. Okay, next, we have the appointment to fill the vacated council seat, which will be effective January 1st, 2019. And just to be clear, is this where I can say my piece on this one?
Yes.
Okay. The way that our charter reads is that the seat it's appointed, obviously. And we as a council came together and decided on what's the right way in filling the seat. And what we decided to do, as our colleagues that surround us has done also in the past, is we went from the results of the last election. And had Frank not ran at that point, then Salim Siddiqui would have been on the council at that time. So as a council, we all agreed that the person that should fill Frank's seat is Salim Siddiqui. So do we have a motion for that? You absolutely can.
Going on seat. I move that he be elected, Salim Siddiqui be
I'll second that.
Second? Oh,
Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none?
elected.
Oh, he's coming up in a few seconds, right? So we're gonna do the, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed? Salim, if you would come up to be sworn in.
I like the one on the phone.
How are you?
I
Salim Siddiqui,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Charter of the City of Lathrup
and
Village,
the Charter of the City of Lathrup Village,
and the ordinances of the City of Lathrup
and the
Village,
ordinances of the City of Lathrup Village,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of City Council member
of City Council member
for the City of Lathrop Village, Michigan,
in the City of Lathrop Village, Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, you could say more than that if you like.
Oh, I'm very,
Sorry, I need your signature.
yeah, no problem.
And I'll get your copy.
Thanks very much for the appointment. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to serving the city of Lathrop Village. Obviously, Mayor Brock has been an icon here and done an awesome and tremendous job over the years. I'm just going to come in and do the best I can for the city, work hard, and continue the great work that the council's been doing. Keep our city great.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
City Administrator?
Thank you. Mayor and council, this being the final meeting of the year, I want to first and foremost just thank you for bringing me on board, and it's been a pleasure to work with each and every one of you. And I have left you at your table a holiday card, and there is a poinsettia on the side of the stage for each of you to take with you as well to wish you a happy holidays.
Thank you.
And just to give you a brief update, we have the 3 vacancies on staff. The one, we have extended an offer for the position of the Assistant Building Department and Code Enforcement, so we're doing the background check.
Great.
And hope to have them on board
Great,
beginning
great,
of
great.
January. And the other 2, the Manager of Community and Economic Development, we'll start those interviews next week and hope to have them on board early in January. And the Parks and Recreation Coordinator position is posted, and we're accepting applications through the 28th of this month. We also received a response to the RFQ for the Realtor position relative to the marketing of the House in the Woods property, so that will be coming to you in January as well.
Excellent.
And the service line warranty program, if you're aware, recall that's the one for the coverage of the water and sewer lines. They're doing their 3rd mailing, so those will be going out before the end of the month. You already approved the Board of Review meeting dates. The DDA was unable to have a meeting this month since there was not a quorum present. Their next meeting is scheduled for January 11th at 12 noon. The holiday potluck for the employees is Thursday, 12:30 to 4:30. City Hall will be closed for that time, and you are all welcomed if you bring a dish. And also, I want to mention that the staff has adopted 4 families in Lathrop Village for us to be giving back to the community as well, and so that everyone can enjoy a happy holiday. The City Hall will be closed for both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. And also, there's a lot of activities going on now. I was happy to join the seniors for their bus tour of the holiday lights yesterday, so it was a lot of fun. And the next senior event is going to be Senior Appreciation Luncheon on Thursday, January 10th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. It is free of charge, but you do need to register in advance. There will be a special council meeting on January 7th at 6 p.m. That's instead of your study session that day, so if you will note that on your calendars. And your next regular meeting is Monday, January 28th. January 21st, we will be having a celebration of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. That's following the event that starts in Southfield, and then we're going to have our event from 2 to 4 p.m. with lots of celebrations here, as well as a giving back to the community, and we're asking people to bring in dry foods and canned foods to donate to the South Oakland County Shelter. January 26th, we have scheduled the community town hall on the medicinal and recreational marijuana to get citizen feedback relative to how we want to address that here locally. And the Southfield Chamber is hosting a presentation in January on the 9th that will be here with the speaker, Michael Jeffries. The cost is $5 for members and $10 for non-members.
Thank you. Did you say something about the Board of Review?
Yes.
And that Frank is now sitting
Yes.
on the board
So
of review.
Mr. Siddiqui is currently serving on the Board of Review, so we just received his resignation from the Board of Review, and I've heard through the grapevine that Mr. Brock is interested in possibly serving on the Board of Review. So they have essentially switched seats, if you authorize that.
This doesn't seem right to me.
So that will be on your January agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a quick question about the DDA? Those grants that they have, open up the sign grants, how are the businesses knowing about that opportunity?
It was emailed to the businesses, it's on the website. It will be in our newsletter that will be going out by the end of the year.
Great. I was really, really excited to see that. Okay.
Mr. City Attorney, do you have anything?
Actually, I have a couple of things. As many of you may be aware, the Honey Tree restaurant closed last week. I was advised by Cheryl that this had happened, and they have a pending liquor license that's been submitted to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission for approval. You may recall one of the conditions of their special land use was that if they were to obtain a license, which council gave them approval for, it had to remain in the city for 5 years after they obtained that license. So based on the fact that they've closed their location, there's some other conditions that I believe they have not fully complied with. I have directed clerk to send out a notice, which I believe she did send out this week, scheduling a show cause hearing for them. That'll be held January 7th at that special meeting where they will have an opportunity to come in and show cause why the city should not revoke their special land use approval, which in turn would revoke the city approval for the liquor license. I have conveyed this information to the Liquor Control Commission, so they are aware of the pending hearing. And then based on the outcome of that hearing, I'll also provide them with an update of that. So just so that you're aware that is going on, because I know that I personally have gotten a couple of inquiries from residents about it. I'm sure that's something that perhaps you have also fielded some questions from them. So, and then lastly, on behalf of myself, my staff, and my firm, I wanted to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Any reports from any boards, commissions?
Yeah,
committees?
several things from the Planning Commission. I normally can't read my own writing, and now without my glasses, I don't know that I'm going to be able to read my notes. But obviously, we recommended for approval the accessory structure and zoning definitions ordinances, which we approved tonight. We also voted to reinstate the site plan approval for the Lathrup Village townhomes. So their site plan expired, or the construction had to be completed within a year. That year had passed due to construction delays, and so we basically approved the exact same plans that they had submitted previously, so in essence giving them an extension to complete that project. The other thing that we approved was for Michigan First. They had installed black chain link fence erroneously around their parking lot. So they were brought in to the Planning Commission to discuss that. So we approved them to keep the black chain link fence, and that requires a little bit of background. They were not required to build this fence, and they decided to do so based upon neighbors' requests that in addition to the generous landscaping that they placed to buffer between the parking lot and the homes, that they also put a fence in to prevent people from cutting through the parking lot into their residences. So they, Michigan First agreed to put the fence up, and during the site plan approval, it was mentioned that it was going to be that it needed to be an ornamental aluminum fence. When the Michigan First people left that meeting, they were a little bit confused and thought that a black chain link fence was okay. It ended up getting installed because it never got changed. It never got changed on the site plan or the construction plan. But the city was also at fault because we had a less than stellar process for transmitting the decision and the will of the Planning Commission over to the building department. So because part of it was our fault and part of it was their fault, we decided as a Planning Commission to approve the fence. It is mostly obscured by landscaping and will be more obscured as the trees grow. And then we also, as part of the approval, asked the city manager to draft a letter explaining why the black chain link fence was approved when we don't normally approve chain link fence in the city. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. To unfinished or new business? Anyone?
Well, I have a department, a report
Okay.
on SIMCOG.
Oh, yes.
We talked, but I had a question for the Planning Commission. We talked in our last meeting about that MRI place across the street, across from Panera, and they were supposed to go to the Planning Commission to seek a revision because of the way that building looked. Did anything happen with that yet?
As far as I know, Cheryl would be the one to know if they applied or anything.
We have a meeting scheduled this week with them in regards to that property and another property that they've recently acquired, so we will be speaking with them regarding that.
Yeah, thank you, because that property is getting, I mean, it's getting worse and worse and worse. But SIMCOG, we talked last time, as well as me having a brief meeting with SIMCOG about just some ideas on biking, and I think biking routes, and there are some grants coming up in February that SIMCOG and MDOT have that would help us with some of our scaping, and I just thought it would be a good time to at least start talking about actually the bike routes and to try to take advantage of even these grants that are coming up. And I know, Dr. Cheryl, you have the grant finder rights on there.
Yes.
And so February 20th is the due date. It's called TAP, Transportation Alternative Programs. And the conversation was great. I never thought about having bike routes through the neighborhood, bike trails through the neighborhood, but it's a concept of neighborhood greenways and bicycle boulevards. So I'd like to at least schedule the meeting so that we can talk to SIMCOG about it and maybe just go forward in trying to get grants or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that. We actually, a couple study sessions ago, we talked about bike routes.
Yes.
Because the Time Bank actually has an annual spring roll event where we've mapped out the bike route for Lathrup Village, and we can actually link that bike route with the Southfield Northwestern Highway. They have a green space there.
And that,
So I agree we should do that.
Yeah.
And we actually should start marking those roads.
yeah.
So if we can do that, I don't think that's going to be too much to do that, like, as far as cost.
That is a part of the planning. We have to mark roads, we have to kind of tell them where we want to get through in the neighborhood. One other concept that was really cool, you know, there's a city that has, it's called a shared lane, where bicycles through the neighborhood have a right to drive in the street as well as with the cars. So there was just some great information that I think we need to get on. We still have time for the February, and if we don't make February, MDOT has 2 or 3 other grant opportunities, but just to get it going, because like you said, we've been talking about it, and you already have one.
Right.
Yeah, you already have one area mapped out that we can talk about.
What's the criteria? Do we need to fill out
There's a grant application, but we have to have a plan. They have to see our plan, and I really appreciate what you just said, because that allows us to maybe start there as the first official bike
I'll
route.
submit that to you.
So,
It's there.
okay. I met with Brian Pollock from SIMCOG about that, but he knows that we have to run it by the city. Dr. Cheryl has to be there. So that's all regarding SIMCOG that I have. Yes, thank you.
Any unfinished or new business?
Yeah, just 2 questions regarding the townhomes. So we just renewed the site plan again. We didn't downgrade it to apartments or anything like that.
No, it's just change it to it was the same site plan that they had submitted earlier.
They had actually, it was initially approved as apartment units when they first obtained their approval.
But did they
They
get,
never completed the necessary documents to convert them to condominiums.
Oh, really? But they did now?
No, they are going to remain, the intent is for them to remain apartments.
Okay.
so did they get another year? How much time did they get?
They have a new site plan, so technically they have 2 years before this site plan expires.
Really?
They have a much more aggressive timetable. I believe their worst case scenario, they'd anticipate that everything would be done by September of next year.
Okay.
September of 2019.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, two more. So the families that you all have adopted, are you accepting donations?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So,
Gladly.
so we'll see you or have people contact you?
Sure.
Okay, canned goods or
Yeah.
does it? Okay, all right, no problem. I guess
I didn't hear that. What is it that they're accepting? Because
canned goods or cooked meals?
I don't think I could.
you don't want my cooking.
No.
We have baskets, so things
Canned
that can
goods
go in the
or-
baskets.
So the
Okay.
baskets are outside?
Canned goods.
Are you talking about for the 4 families or
Yeah, for the
yes.
4 families.
Yes.
Yep.
We have
Okay.
baskets.
No toys or,
No, they're
Yeah.
seniors.
They're seniors.
Food.
Just food?
Senior, so
Okay,
cheese, crackers, sausage,
okay.
No, I thought it-
filet mignon?
for seniors to eat.
Okay. One of those families, does it involve our officer that's out currently on sick leave? Doesn't? It does not. Okay. Do we have anything going on with him or other than, okay. Okay. All right. I guess the last thing I have is to thank Diane, Yvette, Cliff's sister for helping today. So the food you guys ate was all due to everyone that participated. So I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Yes. Very good food.
There's Diane.
And then I just wanted to say that we will have our 3rd annual Meet the Chief Coffee Hour, looking like it's going to be February 19, just waiting on a couple of responses for that. And then in March, there's going to be, but it's going to be a little bigger, but a Women's Business Awards will be here. So just look for more information for that. We'll be honoring our Congresswoman, and there's a lot of companies that are coming that they've actually been here before to help the businesses here in Lathrup and in Oakland County. So we are working on making that happen.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I just really want to encourage people to come to the January 26th marijuana town hall because we really need to hear from you and what our community's thoughts are in terms of whether or not we allow it in our town. So we really want to hear from you, so please show up and bring your comments.
Just a quick question. Are we going to do pros and cons like we did the last time, or are we just having a town hall?
It's a town hall
to
meeting
get a pulse?
to get a pulse from the residents.
Okay.
Because I think and correct me if I'm wrong, from anyone else, the pros and cons was already, we did that in the last town hall. So now it's whether or not you want, you residents, if you wanted a dispensary or any type of marijuana facility in Lathrup Village. So that's what the discussion is going to be about.
So we can't do a quick review, a quick overview of pros and cons?
Well, that
Because
was-
there'll probably be several people who weren't here the last time.
That was also, pros and cons was prior to it also passing. So, I mean, that was, so it's a different story now.
Right,
So no pros and cons.
right.
This
So
would
that's
be-
why I thought it would be good to,
I mean, it's
Have
here,
some.
it's passed already, so there's nothing we can do about the law being what the law is. So
Well,
this
there-
one is going to be just for the residents to come to voice your opinion, because we're going to have to make a decision at some point whether or not we're going to let marijuana facilities be in Lathrop. So this needs to really be where the residents come out and really voice your concern or your pros and cons of why it should be here.
that was
Not-
my point.
Not about.
That was my point, that why it should or should not be
Oh,
here.
yeah.
We should
Well,
have
that's obvious.
discussed, well, no, it's not necessarily obvious, but that was my point. Not
Okay.
to bring the whole conversation in, but to be fair to the public and have pros and cons about why or why we should not have it here in our city. So I think you said that,
Correct.
all right?
All right. Any other
Where are you
discussion?
going to publicize the meeting?
Pardon me?
Where will you publicize the meeting? You want a large amount of the community to come.
So I know that it'll be part of my portion for the newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah, I post those things on Nextdoor, on Villagers. I believe Cheryl will obviously put it on our city website. It will be posted here.
We're going to ask LVCC to post as well, if possible.
And then
We'll send you
also,
some stuff.
Jim will have it on the public access.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions? No, I was being serious.
And the sun, I'm assuming.
I think that would be a good idea, because this is really, we really need to hear from the residents on this one.
Yes,
That's what I'm hearing loud and clear.
Yes.
That's why.
Yes.
Very much
And in
so.
case you didn't hear, we really need to hear from the
Really?
residents.
We need you all, which camera am I supposed, we need the residents to come out to help us.
That's
okay,
right.
For that. Anything else? Okay, for new business, I also wanted to give this resolution to,
What's his name again?
I forgot his name, he's not even up here yet. Mayor Frank Brock. I sincerely, I've sat next to you my entire career, and it's going to be just different to not,
You did that pretty good. Bad influence.
you know, me and my corny jokes.
That you guys have in common, for sure.
Yes, well, we worked
I
as
don't know,
a team.
Frank gets the award on that.
But Ian's coming in close second. So what I wanted to do is make sure that you got this resolution, which you've had so many, so I'm not going to read through it. Again, I just want to express my appreciation of you and how much you have been extremely supportive of me and also me being on council and also just being a friend both to me and my family, and again, allowing me to be a part of your family. So I appreciate you, and I'm really going to miss you next week.
Later.
Absolutely.
Never give a guy a microphone. Anyway, I want to just take 1 minute and thank everybody who took the time to come out and join together with us this evening. From the minute I walked in this door this evening, I've been overwhelmed by the affection and warmth of the group and greeting me and thanking us for whatever part I may have had in the city. I love the city. I've enjoyed the time I've spent working on its behalf, and will continue to be involved. I'm not going away entirely. Again, I wish to thank everybody that turned out this evening, and I love all of you. I appreciate all of your kind words. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott?
I'd like to make a motion of sine die.
To adjourn the meeting, signing
Adjourn the
day.
meeting, to adjourn the meeting, sine die.
Second. Second to die.
Meeting adjourned, and before we say this, because I didn't hit it yet, I want to say happy holidays to everyone that is viewing this and everyone that's in the audience, and safe travels if you're traveling, and we'll see you in the new year.
Very good.